Welcome to LSJ News. I'm Lucy Hickmore.
And I'm Adam Tomlinson, and here's your latest Lincoln news.
Ed Miliband has promised to raise the minimum wage to £8 under a Labour government.
He was speaking at the showroom today for a People's Question Time event. Gregor Smith has more.
Ed Miliband came here to Lincoln showroom earlier today to do a People's Question Time, answering questions from mothers, students' union representatives, Home Start, the YMCA, sixth form students and a wide variety of people on a variety of topics, including rental housing, apprenticeships, manual work, the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, anti-Semitism, Islamophobia and more in just 1 hour. Here's a selection of what he had to say.
I think people are finding themselves worse off, working harder and harder just to make ends meet. I think people see a recovery that might be working in the City of London, but hasn't reached most kitchen tables of most people in our country. And I think people need we need a different way of doing things. On buy-to-let, by the way, we've said also, and I think this is fair enough, that when homes are built locally, the council should be able to set aside at least 50% of the homes to say this is for local people, not buy-to-let from outside the area. Because I think it's just a big problem. We know there's issues around planning permission, but you can't get people to be signed up to actually saying yes to kind of things going ahead if they think my local community is going to get nothing out of it. You'll have noticed 1 or 2 attacks on me over the last 4 years, and indeed over the last few weeks when I've raised these issues. Some people say, oh, it's anti-business to say this. It's not. It's not anti-business. Actually, all of the evidence from around the world is that more unequal countries are less successful countries. On the wider issue about which party can actually represent young people, I'd ask people to take a look at what Labour is offering. Guaranteed jobs for young people, funded by a bank bonus tax, skills for young people, including vocational education and apprenticeships, which will make a real difference, housing for young people, dealing with the rip-offs in the private rented sector, so saying letting agents won't again be allowed to charge tenants fees, which is a massive problem for so many students, tackling climate change and the environment, putting that front and centre of our economic and environmental agenda, and giving the vote to 16 and 17-year-olds, which I think is a sign of trust in young people.
One of the representatives from the University of Lincoln Students' Union was also present at the meeting. She asked a question about international students, and we caught up with her afterwards to see whether she thought the response was good enough.
I asked about international students when they finish their studies. If they study in the UK for 3 years, they have 4 months to find a job here. If they don't find a job here, they would then have to go home. I think this is a pressing issue because, like in the answer that Ed gave, you know, we're training up a lot of people here. They're learning a lot of skills. Some of them want to stay. Some of them, after 3 years, have many reasons to stay in this country. Not only that they have learned a lot of skills that they can contribute to our society, but they may have built a life here.
So, Gregor, what was it like there?
Hi, Adam. The Labour Party had invited a variety of people to represent the diaspora of Lincoln. So there were young people, there were old people, some were students in sixth form and in higher education, there were some people from abroad who've come to stay here, there were also mothers and just a wide variety of people with a lot of different questions to ask.
So did those people seem receptive to what he was saying?
Yep, even though not everyone there was a Labour Party member, they seemed to be quite happy with Mr Miliband's performance. And they sometimes they applauded and occasionally they even laughed, for example, when he admitted that he was able to play pool.
That's Gregor Smith reporting. The debate about pay rises has been contentious over the past few weeks, with the Prime Minister urging employers nationwide to raise wages. Our political editor, Calvin Robinson, has been finding out how this will affect smaller businesses in Lincoln.
Give Britain a pay rise. That was the call from the Prime Minister David Cameron this past week, as he sets out to tarnish Labour leader Ed Miliband's minimum wage rise policy. But will a call to arms from the Prime Minister be heard by businesses and the public alike?
Business is not a conspiracy of runaway profits, depressed wages, inequality and unfairness. It is the best generator of growth, of wealth, of work and opportunity that there is. And there'd be no better way to demonstrate that right now than to give Britain a pay rise.
Now, some political commentators will say Well, it's possible for big business like EE and Starbucks to give their employees a pay rise. But what about Lincoln's small businesses like here on Steep Hill? Could they possibly give their employees a pay rise? The response from the small businesses has been mixed, with one owner suggesting that although the economy has picked up, they have to be careful.
I think you need to be careful because the small businesses, they're already getting hit quite hard with sort of a lot of hidden taxes and things. Like VAT, you get hit quite hard, and it's difficult to claim that back if you're selling second-hand vintage stuff, because often you're buying from places that you can't claim the VAT back.
So how does Lincoln's local economy fare for small businesses? Well, the local tourism revenue in 2013 was 1.15 billion. This bears well for local businesses that rely on Lincoln's attractions. However, retail assistants are considered the lowest earners in Lincolnshire, as they earn £6.54 per hour. But according to Lincoln Research Observatory, businesses should look to the future, as growth is predicted to rise by 38% in the next 12 months. So, although we would like much more pounds in our pockets and cash on our cards, it looks like we're just going to have to wait until after the election. Calvin Robinson, LSJ News.
Police are warning people in Lincoln about the dangers of cold callers. There have been 3 reports so far of cold callers in Lincolnshire asking for bank details. One caller said he was a chief detective and needed a woman's bank details after allegations of fraud.
A series of fundraising events are being held in Lincoln this week for a student mental health charity. A recent survey from Equality Challenge Unit highlighted mental health issues, revealing that 54% of students with mental health difficulties have not received adequate help from their universities. The money raised will go to the charity Student Minds, who aim to raise awareness of these issues at University Mental Health Day tomorrow.
An email through from head office saying that it was our company's chosen charity was Student Minds. Myself and Leslie, we really like the charity because it's very small, and obviously working with 402 students, we have our fair share of people who need a little bit of additional help. They can go to our My Donate page, which is all over our Facebook pages. I've emailed it out to everybody who lives here now. It's a minimum of £2 donation, and they can donate what they want.
With all the latest team news from tonight's Champions League matches, here's George Birch with the sport.
The Champions League returns tonight as Chelsea face Paris Saint-Germain in the last 16. Diego Costa returns for Chelsea after being out for the past 6 months. While former Blues defender David Luiz has said he will not celebrate if he scores against his former club. The company that owns Birmingham City Football Club has said they are not in liquidation. This comes after the club announced that they are in receivership because they can't meet financial obligations. This means a third party is in control of the club, and Birmingham City can continue to play in the Championship without a points deduction. A Lincoln City fan paid £200 for a ticket to the club's last home match against Chester. You'll remember that last week we reported that Lincoln City ran a scheme where fans could pay what they want in an attempt to reduce the club's debt. I went to Sinselbank earlier to find out more. In an attempt to wash out nearly £380,000 worth of debt for the cooperative bank, Lincoln City ran a pay-as-you-want ticket scheme last Saturday against Chester FC. They may have lost the match, but the game was a success with more than 4,000 people attending the event. Lincoln City plans to do more events like this in the future.
One of the things Lincoln City are doing is hosting the first venue for the Madness Tour in May, with over 1,000 tickets already sold.
We were approached by the promoters of the Madness Tour with a view to seeing if we fancied putting the event on here. There was other football clubs in the region area that they were speaking to. We took the decision, let's go for it, let's do it. It's not at any financial risk to the football club. Financially, we will make revenue off it, but being a Madness fan myself for many years, it's going to be great.
That's all for today from Sinselbank. George Birch, LSJ News.
Thanks, George. Now it's time to head over to Eleanor Weaver to check in on the weather.
So it's starting to cool down here in Lincoln now, and as you can see, it is starting to cloud over a little. Tonight we're looking at temperatures of around about 4 degrees Celsius, so it could get quite chilly. But the good weather from today is set to continue into tomorrow, with highs of around 8 degrees Celsius, but it should be maybe just a little bit cloudier than it was today.
And finally, today is Pancake Day. St Mary Wigford's Church on Lincoln's High Street is giving out free pancakes this afternoon. The Luminous Group have been giving away free pancakes on this day for the last 4 years. The volunteers have been hard at work to produce over 200 pancakes for the public today. They feel Pancake Day is the last party before Lent begins tomorrow.
In Lent, people have an opportunity to focus on the things that really matter in life. So it's a way to kind of declutter. The idea of using pancakes is you use up the flour and the milk and the butter and all the treaty things you've got in the house, and so you live simply in Lent and focus on the needs of other people.
That's all your news for now, but you can keep up to date at LSJ Tweets on Twitter or lsjnews.co.uk. Goodbye.